Oh, I just recorded like 5 minutes without recording, so that's fucking great. What is going on with my hair? It is so humid today, so my hair is like disgusting, and I'm like sweating, and I'm sure you can hear the fan in the background, and it's like blowing shit. My lips are really dry. It's kind of gross. So basically, for those of you who don't know, sleep paralysis is basically when you sleep, your mind goes to sleep and your body goes to sleep. Your mind paralyzes your body so that when you're asleep, you don't act out your dreams. So sleep paralysis is when you try to wake up and only your mind wakes up. Your body doesn't wake up, so you can't move or anything. Because you can't move in sleep paralysis, people experience like this feeling of really, really acute anxiety and fear and just an overall sense of like evil, people say. And from a scientific and like medical perspective, it's because you're just so anxious because you can't move. So you experience like this horrible, like what people describe as a sense of like a evil presence. But the origins of sleep paralysis are pretty mysterious in that scientists don't know exactly what causes it, if there's some sort of gene, if there's any causal factors to it whatsoever, how to treat it. Doctors don't really know that much about it. They pretty much barely know what it is. So ever since, like ancient cultures and whatnot, there's been all this speculation as to the origins of sleep paralysis. So a lot of ancient cultures believe that sleep paralysis is caused by paranormal reasons, like a demon sitting on your chest or an old hag sitting on your chest and holding you down. And the reason why they think this is because it comes with such an evil presence. You feel like that evil, scary, like presence, and also because your mind is awake but your body's still asleep, so you're essentially half asleep. It also comes with like horrible hallucinations, so a lot of people will see like demons or ghosts or stuff like that. So a lot of ancient cultures really believed that this was a sign of like demonic possession, or like a demon trying to take control of your body, or an old hag sitting on your chest, or a demon sitting on your chest, or things like that. Now, a lot of other cultures, and even people today, also believe that this is alien abduction, that you're being abducted by aliens when you have a sleep paralysis episode, because a lot of the things, I guess, I don't know too much about this part of it, or this belief about it, but a lot of the things people experience when they have sleep paralysis is similar to what people report when they report an alien abduction. So when I was, 19, I had sleep paralysis for the first time ever. I didn't know what the fuck it was. It was so terrifying. I've always had really bad nightmares, and I've had some really crazy paranormal experiences when I was little, and if you guys want to hear about those, I'll do some other videos on those. But when I was like 18 or 19, I was living in Idaho, and I was with one of my boyfriends, not one of my concurrent, but you know what I mean. And basically we were sleeping in his parents' house, I forget why, and we were sleeping on the floor in the living room. And I start to fall asleep, and he's laying right next to me when I start to fall asleep, and he is like fast asleep. I'm still up trying to fall asleep, and so I do fall asleep, but I don't even know that I'm asleep. It's like he is laying on the floor next to me and he's asleep, right? And I'm laying there, and all of a sudden I feel him like staring at me. So I turn, I turn my head a little bit, and I feel like I can't really move. Like I feel like when I went to turn my head, everything kind of spun, and I went to like lift my arm, and I couldn't lift my arm. And so I look at him, and I see him like through my eyes, whatever, looking like that way, and he is sitting cross-legged, like with like this sort of like pleased smile on his face, and he's just staring at me, sort of like his eyes are black, like completely black. I don't know if you can imagine this, but he's just sitting cross-legged, staring at me like he's pleased with himself, like. And I'm like terrified, right? And I like jolt myself because I'm like so terrified. And all of a sudden it was like I went into another like hallucination, and he went from sitting cross-eyed and staring at me, or sitting cross-legged and staring at me, to leaning over me and whispering in my ear. And he was just like whispering like this gibberish mixed with numbers, like he was counting down. I forget like what he was counting down from, but it was just like gibberish and numbers, like counting down. And I got so scared. I felt myself like I was just terrified. Like I didn't even know what to do. It was just this like feeling of utter fear. And I sort of like snapped out of that. And I remember I woke up for a minute and I was like, oh my God, thank God, that was a dream. And then I fell back asleep. And when I fell back asleep, I had another episode. And I noticed immediately when I couldn't move and I started feeling absolutely terrified. It's like this overall like evil presence. And all I see is like the door, the front door. And I just felt like this overwhelming urge to run out the front door. Like I just had to leave. Like, and I kept trying to make it to the front door, but I couldn't move. But it was like, and then I started mixing in with dreaming, so it was like I was sort of moving, but it was like, anytime I have a sleep paralysis episode, and when I finally succeed in moving, it's like this really like dizzy feeling. Like, say I'm asleep on my couch, and I have a sleep paralysis episode. Then afterwards, when I finally snap out of it, but I'm still dreaming, I'll be dreaming that I finally move. But when I go to move, everything spins so hard that I just fall off the couch. And then I'm sort of like doing this weird crawling on the floor thing, but I can't really because everything's spinning so hard. It's just really weird. And that's sort of what was happening. I was like trying to crawl, and I was like spinning and like turning on my back, and like I could not move. I couldn't get further than a few feet because everything was spinning so hard. And I was just like trying to make it out the door. So that was like my first experience. And after that, I couldn't really tell you what my second experience was. After that, they all kind of started blurring together because I just started getting them all the time. Especially if I was sleeping alone, and especially if I fell asleep on my back. If I fell asleep on my back and I was sleeping alone, I would have horrible sleep paralysis episodes. And most of the time, they're just, you know, I wake up and I realize I can't move, and I, you know, just feel like this horrible, like, evil presence, like, really strong evil presence, and I'll just start, like, praying, even though, to be honest, like, I'm not really a part of any religion, and I don't really know what I believe in exactly when it comes to God. I know that I do believe that there is a God, but I'm not any farther than that, and I'm not sure. But once I start praying, and I would just shake my head like as fast as I can, and that would like jolt me out of it, and I would wake up like shaking my head. So other than that, like, there's a bunch of other, I don't even know really what other story I could tell you guys about sleep paralysis. I guess one time, a more recent one, I was asleep and I was alone and I was on my back, sleeping on my back, and I woke up, and it was like when you're having a sleep paralysis episode, everything around you looks exactly as it is in real life. And that's sort of how you know, like, you're awake. You know what I mean? Like, when you're dreaming, say you're dreaming of your room. Your room isn't going to literally have every single possible detail that it does in real life. At least not for me. But when I'm having sleep paralysis, my room has every single detail that it has in real life. Like, I'm literally, like, awake. And so I was sleeping in my room alone on my back, and I just felt, I woke up, whatever, in a sleep paralysis episode, and I couldn't move, and I just got so panicky, and I felt this overwhelming, like, fear and presence of evil. And I look at the doorway, and the door's open, and it's all dark, and I see, like, this shadowy figure just standing there. And I just start getting terrified, like, praying to myself, I'll wake up, and as I'm doing that, like, the figure is getting closer, and as I can see his face, he is like a normal looking guy, except for he has this crazy wide grin on his face, like ear to ear grin with like really wide eyes, like just totally crazy looking face. And he just keeps like inching closer to me, like slowly inching closer to me, and he's getting closer and closer, and I'm like panicking more and more and trying to like shake my head, but at the same time I don't want to look away, because it's like, I don't know what this motherfucker's gonna do if I look away. And so he just keeps getting closer and closer and closer until finally he's like hovering over me, like that close to my face. And I was so scared, I guess I finally just jolted myself out of it. So I just had like this guy with like this crazy ear to ear grin on his face, just like that close to my face. It was terrifying. And I've had other experiences too. Like I said, I get them a lot. I actually haven't gotten them that much lately in the past few months. And when I do get them lately, they're sort of mild, where it's just like that evil presence, but I snap myself out of it really fast. I think it's because I've gotten so used to them that I've sort of learned like how to be like, alright, I'm going into this, so this is how you stop it. And I've also sort of learned, like, when I'm more tired, that's when I'm going to have an episode like that sort of thing. But I've had so many, like, different scary dreams. I've had ones where I've seen demons, like, with horns and hooves. I've had ones where, like, a stranger will come in and, like, I think he's, like, gonna rape me and stuff, but I always seem to wake up right before whatever I'm hallucinating actually, like, touches me. But they can get, like I said, like, that creepy, crazy guy with the crazy smile, they can get super close, but it's like they never actually touch me. I always wake up right in time. But I guess that's kind of how it is with nightmares and stuff. So, yeah. So, anyway, if any of you guys struggle with sleep paralysis, let me know in the comments. If you guys have any of your own stories, let me know. If you want to hear some more sleep paralysis stories, let me know. If you want to hear some of my paranormal stories, let me know. And yeah, just let me know in the comments.